gang. Window down, yelling out money, anything. Ayy, ooh, got the foot on the gas. Pedal to the metal when I'm getting to the bag. Ayy, got the foot on the gas. Pedal to the metal when the lane moving fast. Ayy, ayy, let them all cross. If they hate, then let them hate and make a bigger boss. Ayy.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Podcast, the top podcast in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines. But most importantly, you guys provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I do say that before every single show. And what I mean by that is I only speak with transportation professionals, because at the end of the day, I want to talk to the right individuals who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve, so you can take that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. Happy Wednesday, everybody. I got a very special guest, and I'm going to bring her up here in a second. Our topic of conversation today is technology, cyber threats, and everything. And it's always ironic. Every time I talk about this topic on my show, I can't get the show started. So I think it's a sign about my internal tech and what we need to step up here. But I do want to just make one quick announcement. We do drop our weekly newsletter every single Wednesday, which is today. But I don't automatically sign you up if I have your email address. But what I do need you to do, if you want to get in on this, again, it drops every single Wednesday. We just talk about freight. I need you to go to thefreightcoach.com, though. It'll auto prompt you to register for it, and you guys can take it from there. But anyways, you guys, today's topic, cyber threats inside of transportation. You guys know I'm going to be at the NMFTA Cybersecurity Conference in Austin Monday and Tuesday of next week, which if you guys aren't already registered, you should register for that. And my guest today is also going to be there, and we're going to talk about a topic we are both very passionate about. So I have Melanie Padron back on the show. Melanie, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today.
Hey, Chris. So good to see you. Great to be back. Thanks so much.
Oh, no, I'm glad you're on today, and I'm really looking forward to meeting you in person next week. It's not very often in today's world where you get to actually meet everybody that comes on your show like this. But so what's been new on your agenda here? It's been a while since you've been on, and we're both very passionate. I'm becoming more and more passionate about cybersecurity. You live and breathe it every day, though.
Yep, absolutely. I'm telling you what, the criminals do not slow down. Every single day, we are helping trucking companies and logistics companies stay one step ahead of the bad guys. IT Architect, our mission is really just simple. We secure fleets and we protect profits, and that's what it's all about. And just every day, we're trying to help trucking companies identify their vulnerabilities, their security gaps, their weaknesses, and then use our AI-powered cybersecurity just to plug up those holes and, keep them one step ahead of the criminals.
No, and that's exactly it, right? And that's where we are is it's like we need to stay ahead of it. And if there's one thing, because I think a lot of people, when they think about cybersecurity, they think about technology, it does bring a level of anxiety to the table here, Melanie, because most people are very novice in it, right? Like my IT capabilities are restart your computer when something doesn't work properly, right? And I think like with technology and, we'll throw AI in the mix and everything, it's moving so fast that I think a lot of people are kind of like, well, I'm too small. No one's going to look at me. I don't need to really pay attention to this.
Golly, I hear that. I probably hear that objection, that myth, more than any other. I'm too small to be on a criminal's radar. They're going to go after the big guys, the big companies. And I'm going to tell you what, Chris, that is not true. You are not too small to be hacked. You are just too small to make the news. We hear about the big ones, right?
Yeah.
Forward Air, the SDs, just all of the big attacks. We hear about that and we try to learn from them. But the smaller companies are being hit every single day. And we see that in our line of work. And that's because they typically don't have the security in place that a larger company does, which just makes them low-hanging fruit and easy pickings. You know what I mean? And the statistic is that 60% of small businesses, small to mid-sized businesses, go out of business, close their doors for for good after a cyber attack. And especially in an industry like trucking and logistics, it's so critical to our nation's infrastructure and keeping our country running. That is not okay. And it's one of the reasons why we focus so heavily on, education and awareness and where are the blind spots in trucking. We're constantly, especially this month, I don't know if everybody knows, but it's National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And all month long, that is all I'm talking about are the top blind spots that our security assessments, that our fleet risk security assessments uncover every single day.
Yeah. And I think when you're, with most businesses inside of transportation being small business, right? Like I think that is kind of like the general sentiment overall though, Melanie, is like, I'm too small. No one's going to pay attention to me. And, a couple of things that we've seen here on our business is like from a broker's perspective is this, where they're sending out phishing emails now to us acting on like that they're a shipper and everything else. And I've been selling for way too long to know that it's not very often or ever, especially in freight, when a shipper is going to reach out to you as a provider and be like, oh, I need a quote on this. And then you're like, wait, I've never talked to you before. How'd you get to my email? And then it does. You just got to take a second in the moment. And I know how the freight market is out there. So it's like opportunities are few and far between right now. So you get that initial excitement, but then you're like, all right, hold on, take a second. And then you Google the company, and then you can just go straight to the company's contact information, look at their web domain that's out there. And then you'll see the spelling error because it's always off by one letter and stuff like that. So it's like, there's been a couple of those that have came out, and that's all they need, right? They just need one or two responses from you, and then you just don't know where it could evolve from there.
That's really true. With AI, AI is the hot topic right now. It's the yummy thing that everyone wants to learn more about, but criminals are using AI to become trickier. You're not getting those really obvious emails anymore. Everything you said is so true. You've got to stop and ask yourself, does this make sense? And then you can trust. I don't ever want people to become tainted. We can't let the bad guys infect us, but you trust and verify. You always verify. And you talked about that. You go to the website independently. You look it up. You look for the spelling errors. Is it a 0? Is it an O? Is it an A? Is it an @ sign? They're so tricky. And they're no longer riddled with spelling mistakes or improper grammar. Like AI really allows them to write very legitimate, professional, casual, normal sounding emails. And they're using deep fakes too with voices. It doesn't take, if you answer your phone, we're all getting spam calls all the time. You answer your phone and you say, I typically say, hello, this is Melanie, IT Architects. How can I help you? I don't say that anymore. Now all I say is hello, because they've just captured my voice, and they're using voice deep fakes to get through to people too. But like you said, step back, take your emotions out of it. It is exciting to get a job opportunity, right? But step back, remove your emotions, take a breath, and just go through your checklist. Just like you said, independently verify everything.
And I think that that's one of those things that more and more people need to be on the lookout for with deepfakes, because it's not as obvious anymore, right? Like I think we can all go back to those call center phone calls where it's coming in saying like, I need a gift card, all of that, and then the blatant grammatical errors that were in an email. We're like, this is clearly fake, and I think like that's kind of like the new frontier of where things are. And then I think it's going to make it. Unfortunately, it's going to make it a lot easier for cyber criminals and cargo theft to probably continue to rise out there. Again, it's going to be more and more challenging for the individual to be able to spot that. It's not going to be as easy as it once was.
Right. And you can't take anything at face value. You really have to double check all of, if all the numbers, all of the invoices, all of the companies. You've got to do your due diligence.
No, and that's it, right? So it's like, how are you guys working with your clients then on like creating that due diligence, right? Because I think at times it's easy to mention like, oh guys, this is all you have to do. all right, but how do we get that process in place?
Well, the first thing you have to do is have a process in place, right? So we help you with your key policies and your procedures. We help you put those security checkpoints in place so that everyone knows what is our checklist. How are we vetting our vendors? What are the top 5 questions you should be asking? We work with the trucking company to make sure that their employees. We do a lot of employee awareness training. Your people are most undoubtedly your greatest assets, right? People are fantastic, but they're also your weakest link because we are human. Even if we have even if we are cyber aware, right? We can have a bad day, we can be distracted, we could be having something going on in our personal life, our workload could be just outrageous in that moment. And the exact things that make your people amazing, that their attention to detail, they're wanting to get their job done, they do have a sense of urgency. Those are all the same things that the criminals can use to, trick them.
What are some of these things that you guys are going to be discussing at the cybersecurity conference next week in Austin? Are you guys going to be participating in the tabletop exercises, or do you guys have a full-on presentation?
So we are sponsoring the conference.
Yeah.
Actually, we will be out in the during registration. We'll have a table out in the registration area. We would love for everybody to come. Just so excited to connect in person, but also we're there to learn right alongside everybody. I am very excited for the tabletop exercises. There's an incident response session, and to just be there with trucking companies to be able to learn from them, but also to be able to share some of our lessons learned. I just am beyond excited for this year.
I think that's been my absolute biggest takeaway over the years of going to this event is the absolute collaboration that happens out there. And, because it probably happens at a higher level at this conference than others, because it's not like people view each other as like competing sales reps, right? Because as a sales rep myself, you're out there and you're friendly and you're talking to people at conferences, but you're also like, I can't divulge too much information because then they're going to possibly take my customers. And I think when you're on the IT and tech side of things, people are way more open about, hey, this is what our critical tech infrastructure looks like. This is what we're doing to stop a lot of this stuff. Because again, unfortunately / fortunately, there's been some cases that have happened here recently that are highly publicized in our industry where it's like, hey guys, this is what we learned. This is how you guys can protect yourself from it. And that collaboration piece is the thing that I think amazes me the most in going to this event.
It's very heartwarming. Trucking isn't just an industry. We're family. And when we protect a single trucking company, we protect everyone. And so to have this environment, even within a company, I always say you have to create this see something, say something environment where it's safe for everyone to immediately say, hey, I got an email and I clicked on it. And now, all of a sudden my spidey senses are going off and something's not right. We have to create this environment where people feel safe sharing, not just safe, but where they're rewarded for sharing. Because in a cybercrime, in a hack, in a ransomware, timing is everything. And the sooner you report something, the sooner we can contain it and isolate it and, start to remediate it. And I think it's the same way with the industry as a whole. When we get together collaboratively and put our minds together, when we're learning from each other, hey, look out for this. Hey, this is how we recovered from that. This is how we're doing our backups. Those things that everyone can learn from benefit the industry, our country, the families that are depending on us. It's so refreshing. It's one of my favorite things about the conference.
Yeah, it's definitely getting a lot more traction in the industry now in regards to cyber and everything else. And that's why I'm glad to have been a part of it for so long. The NMFTA has spearheaded this for a very long time now, and it's good to see that it's gaining more steam out there in the industry as a whole. But you're right. I look at it as we are collectively as an industry a lot smarter than the criminals that are out there. I'm not saying that some of these cyber criminals aren't intelligent in what they do, because I've seen some of those case studies that are out there. But I think as an industry, I just look at it as it's just good versus bad. Good people with the right intentions are way more powerful than a bad person with bad intentions. And I think us going out there and putting that, that's going to be the biggest thing to combat what we are up against as an industry. And then especially like when it comes down to like freight theft and everything else that's going on out there, like I talk about this on the show often, having standards for selling your freight is the best defense for criminals out there, because they don't want to have to work hard to get that access to that information, right? Like they want that rep who doesn't care about the load that they're selling, that just blatantly puts the information out there. Then they have the bill of lading, and then that's all they need, right? Then they can go out there and double broker it, reroute it to a warehouse in LA, whatever that looks like, right? And that's why and this is just what I've learned throughout the entirety of my career. And this is somebody who's been selling freight for a long time. I currently book freight. That practice, I think, is the most tried and true method out there is when you have standards and you ask a bunch of questions to your providers, it will frustrate the ones who don't want any part of it, right? But it also, on the flip side, it attracts the right carriers, because the ones who are running a legitimate operation, they need to make sure that it's 26 pallets, 42,000 pounds. They need to know about those appointment times because they have other freight that they need to get access to. And that's why I think it kind of I don't want to say harmony, but like it creates that environment where you're going to attract the right carriers for your freight. And you should, in theory, I'm not going to say it's going to take care of it, deter any of those fraudsters from even wanting to talk to your company, because they're like, oh, they make us work way too hard to get access to anything. We don't want a part of that.
Chris, that is so smart. We cannot make it that easy for the criminals. Don't skip steps. You just said it.
Yeah.
Follow your process. Don't skip steps. Make them work for it.
Yeah. And that's exactly it, right? But again, it's having a plan in place. And I think a lot of it is it's that frontline experience, Melanie, of sitting in the seat and kind of noticing those patterns, right? I think pattern recognition is very key, because the strategy on that end hasn't changed much, right? At least from my seat, because to me, it's very evident when you're talking to somebody on the phone, whether they know what they're talking about or not. And I'm not going to put the information. I will talk to anybody privately about this. And when I say privately, in person, if you know me and you see me at a conference, I will tell you everything that we do. I'm not putting it out here on my show anymore because I feel like it's given away too much. But it's just very basic questions that every real trucking company knows the answers to. And those are those red flags that pop off in my head. If you can't answer that to me, I don't even care. Like you're not going anywhere near my customer's freight, no matter what I could potentially be making in that situation. And again, I think like that is going to be the most tried and true method to combat and fight a lot of this stuff, at least on the freight fraud and double brokering side of things.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you. Having those and having those processes in place, making sure everyone in your company knows what the process is, don't skip steps. And then on the flip side of that, because no amount of security procedures can stop all hacks. They are so sophisticated. They are advancing at such a rapid rate. For the ones that do slip through, first of all, this is not about embarrassment. This is not about shame. This is about action and having an incident response plan. Not just having one, but having a practiced one. A well thought out, practiced incident response plan can make all the difference in the world. When that hack happens, what is your first step?
Yeah.
Do you know who to call? Do your people know what to do? Have you practiced that? That in itself, and having a partner, having a security partner. Listen, we love IT people. We work with IT departments all the time, but having an IT person does not mean you have your security expertly managed and handled. Next to the I'm too small myth, the other myth I have to deal with is I have an IT guy who handles my security. I'm not saying they can't handle your security, but man, IT departments are busy. They are your boots on the ground. They are keeping your company running and your printers turned on and everything hooked up and plugged in. And if you're stacking cybersecurity on top of them, sometimes cybersecurity can be just that one extra thing, just the straw that breaks the camel's back, and it's not getting the exact attention or the expert management that it needs. And in today's day and age, you have to be expertly managing your security. And bonus points if your security people are also experts in your industry, if they speak your language, if they know how your business works. That is an advantage too, because I'll tell you, just as an example, we had a trucking company come to us not too long ago, and they had an IT department who they thought was managing their security. So the IT person had you talked about red flags and security alerts. They had been going off for a year, but were going to a folder that no one monitored. They were misconfigured security alerts. And that's one of the top blind spots we see in trucking today. So the IT person wasn't seeing the alerts.
Mhm.
The CEO certainly didn't think it was her job. The owner certainly didn't think it was his job. And what forensics later determined was that criminals from Vietnam, Russia, and China had been in their system for over a year. The first criminal gang got in there, lived off the land for a year, did reconnaissance work, gathered information until that was valuable enough that they sold it to a second criminal gang that specialized in ransomware that dropped the payload. So
Mhm.
you've got to have your IT and your cybersecurity working together, and they are absolutely two separate and distinct specialties.
Mhm. So without trying to like fear monger or anything, like you're talking, like this is a long game for some of these individuals. So you could be compromised and not even know it for, a while. And then, so like, what are some of those things then that a company could do to even like, I don't want to, is cleanse their system the right word here? Like, how
Yeah.
could they even go to see, is there any outside IP addresses that are accessing your system?
hmm Well, so one of the things that we do is we specialized in fleet security assessments,
Uh-huh.
and it is a 30-day comprehensive evaluation of your security.
Okay.
One of the tools that we use does monitor all the login attempts to your tenant from all over the country and all over the world. And if you are a company that does business in the northeast United States and you've got login attempts from all over the United States or from other countries, we're going to be watching those alerts, and our tools use AI. So AI gathers all the information. It's so valuable for just taking in mass amounts of information and kind of filtering through it. And then our team that's experienced and specialized in cybersecurity and in trucking, we can take that information and then say, okay, does this make sense? And then we talk to you or the company about it. So, absolutely, I would say start with a risk assessment. Your own IT department cannot grade its own work.
Yeah.
The DOT doesn't let you certify your own truck. So why would you treat your cybersecurity any differently? You really need that independent set of eyes looking at your IT and looking at your security, bringing that fresh perspective. And then we're going to deliver all of that information to you in a report so that you can begin to prioritize that and work with your IT department, or hire us, or go to another MSP or security
Yeah.
provider, and whatever it is. But that 30-day assessment gives you that snapshot of your company's security, assessing your people, your applications, your network, your data, and just telling you where those security gaps are.
So are you guys out there like I look at a lot of transportation companies, they have a TMS, they have load boards, they have rating software, they have a bunch of third-party vendors that they are using. Are you guys testing that as well to see like are there any third-party vulnerabilities that could be affecting your operations?
Yes, one of the things we do is help you manage your key vendor relationships.
Gotcha.
You're the expert in running your logistics company or your trucking company. We're the experts in security. So we're the ones going to the table with all of your vendors and making sure those security conversations are being had, and they're being had by experts. And we're looking at, if you're a company, we're looking at how is your company working with ours. If it's an application, we're looking at how is that application accessing your data, and how are we giving data back to that application, and is it just the right amount, and is it just the right way, and is it in a zero trust environment? We only give people and companies an application access to what they need to do their job and no more. It's the principle of least privilege.
Yeah, it's I look at a lot of where things are currently at, right? And with advancements in technology that are out there and companies being more and more relied on it to operate. I think like that's one of the things that is always kind of top of mind for me is it's like if we're going to sign up for a third party vendor at all, what cyber policies do you guys have in place to ensure that our information is safe, right? Because I mean, have you guys seen that ever? Melanie, again, I'm not trying to like fear monger here at all,
No.
but like, have you guys seen that where you're like, hey, your guys' biggest threat is actually this vendor. We found these vulnerabilities inside of their system, and it's going to be very easy for somebody to come through that.
I'll tell you that third-party vendor security is one of the biggest issues right now. Criminals know that if they hack one third-party vendor, they gain access to hundreds or thousands of other companies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bigger hack and it may take a little more time, but as a criminal, do you want to hack one trucking company or do you want to hack one vendor that's going to give you access to thousands?
Mhm.
I mean, they know this and it happens all the time. And so you really do have to vet your vendors. You have to ask them, what's your security policy? If you go down, how is it going to affect my company? What is your response time? What is your notification time to me? There's actually the NMFTA just put out a really great, they do so much great information. There's a guidebook or kind of some
Yeah.
best practices on vetting vendors. I would encourage everybody to go out to their site and download that report. I've also done some videos and written some blog posts and articles on it. But you do need to have a process in place, or you need to have an MSP or a security team vetting those vendors for you and managing those key vendor relationships.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I guess my, a follow-up question here, Melanie, is are some of the smaller companies out there too small for you guys, right? Like, I think that's another thing too, is again, like, you're not going to want to work with us. We only have 2 trucks or something like that.
Yeah. So we actually have peer partners that we work with that do specialize in like 1 to 9 trucks, and then
Yeah.
others that specialize in mid-sized trucking companies. So there is a place for everyone, and everyone in trucking, whether you're an owner operator or whether you have a fleet of 500 trucks, everyone. In fact, the NMFTA has best practices for different size trucking companies.
Mhm.
Go out there and download those best practices and start walking through them. And then if you need an MSP to help you, which you will,
Mhm.
absolutely call us. If we can't help you, or if you're not just our, specific ideal client size, we have other MSPs that that have the same security first mindset that we do, that absolutely can help.
No, and I think that's good, right? Because I think, it's always just trying to be as proactive as possible about this. And again, businesses are of all sizes that are out there. And I know that this is something that, we're told is it's like, hey, we'd love to work with you, but like, you're not big enough for us. And again, everybody's got their ideal customer profile out there. I don't take any offense to that, right? And, everybody's got their own business to run. But I think like that's one thing is when you are looking at it as a small business, and I am a small business owner, you do have that thought, right? Like, hey, like that sounds great, but am I going to even move the needle for you to even want to pay attention to somebody like me? And I think like with cyber, it's great to hear though that you guys have partners out there who have that 1 to 9 truck mid-market specialization, and that's where you guys refer them over to. And they, again, like you guys seemingly have already vetted them. Like you guys aren't going to put your company brand out there on the line for somebody that you didn't do a thorough research on to make sure that they care just as much, if not more than you guys do.
Exactly. Exactly.
No,
Yep.
that's
As far as it depends on me, and as long as I have a voice, I am not letting a single other trucking company close down. We worked with a 95-year-old trucking company. They were already financially distressed, but they were hit with a cyber attack.
mm,
And we will never forget the panic in their voice when they called us that night. We worked for weeks, actually months, trying to recover them. But because they were already operating on a minimal IT budget due to financial constraints, they didn't have any backups. They had really, I'll say, no cybersecurity. It was awful. And so we managed to get many of their core operational systems back up and running. But the existing financial pressures and the damage from the cyber attack, Chris, it was a final nails in the coffin for this company. And when I think of that legacy and that
mhm.
rich history in our industry, like that is not okay. And it's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about what I do and what we're doing, because I know we're making a difference.
Yeah. No, I agree, Melanie. I agree wholeheartedly on this. But hey, I appreciate you joining me today. And I'm really looking forward to actually meeting you in person here next week. But how does anybody out there who's listening right now could get in touch with you guys if they want to learn more?
Yeah, well, I'm very active on LinkedIn. I post content and media all the time. So you can look me up, Melanie Padron on LinkedIn. You can reach me at melanie@itarchitects.com. You can email me. I love to connect. I love to talk. I love to share, educate. Look me up, please.
No, I appreciate it, Melanie. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for your time today. But that is going to be it for today, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys can't find Melanie or IT to Architects out there, hit me up. I will gladly put you guys in contact with them. But hit us up. We're both going to be at the NMFTA Cybersecurity Conference next Monday and Tuesday out in beautiful Austin, Texas. That'll be it for today. As always, if you got value in what you heard, subscribe to the show, you guys. And if you're feeling ambitious, rank it on iTunes and Spotify, because if you see value, your network's going to see it as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And we'll be talking to you soon.
Came back with a bang. Window down, yelling out money, anything. Hey, ooh, got the foot on the gas. Pedal to the metal when I'm getting to the back.